Hey there, RC Girl here. Today we're taking a look at the Scale Department edition of RC 4-Wheel Drive's Trailfinder 2 long wheelbase chassis featuring a new Chevy K10 Scottsdale hardbody, aka a nod to the iconic Fall Guy truck. This is a 1/10 scale platform with a super detailed, beautiful vintage hardbody, down to the scale engine bay, integrated lights, and working tailgate. In this video, I'll share what comes in the box, highlight some details about the platform, and we're gonna hit the trail. Stick around. Oh, shit. If you're new to my channel, I'm all about helping grow radio control. I share product videos, hobby shop tours, tutorials, and more. If you don't want to miss my next video, make sure to subscribe. This is my third Chevy K10 from RC 4-Wheel Drive. I will link out to my other videos where I share a lot more details about the Trailfinder 2 platform. It's worth mentioning, set your driving expectations accordingly. The Trailfinder 2 platform is not a rock crawler. Also not a shelf queen. It is designed for super scale driving, even comes with functional leaf spring suspension. This body is modeled after a 1970s, 80s era square body Chevrolet pickup truck, and with the two-tone vintage brown and tan paint job and the hood decal, it may look super familiar if you're a fan of the TV show or movie Fall Guy. I posted some content on this truck on my social media channels, and some of you have commented why it is not a true scale replica, and while that is true, I think they did a really great nod to the iconic truck. And if you're into scale building, you will have no problem turning this into a true scale replica. You may want to sit down when you hear the price tag. This truck goes for $589.99 at the time of filming this. However, it does pack a lot of details and features into the chassis and the body. Let's take a look. Here is everything that comes in the box. Of course, you're going to get your Trailfinder 2 long wheelbase chassis. Kind of heavy, actually. It looks like there's some new side steps on there, complete with leaf springs. We'll talk about that more in a second. You're gonna get your standard issue RC 4-Wheel Drive, kind of dated transmitter, but there's actually a lot of tuning you can do on this. We'll talk about that in more detail. The body, so cool. RC 4-Wheel Drive spared no detail in this hard body. As I mentioned, nearly assembled, but there are a couple things you need to install. So your front and rear bumpers, the inner fenders, I believe for the front. And it looks like it comes with all the hardware, a couple other scale goodies in there like these lighting covers. Get the owner's manual. Comes with a NAMH battery with XT60 connector and a wall charger, and lots of options for decals. For assembly, maybe about 30 minutes of work to get it ready. You'll have to mount the front fenders, put on the battery straps. I think I installed these wrong. Install the rear body post and trim them to size with flush cutters. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Visible body post on a super scaled truck. Not ideal. Next, you install the plastic chrome painted front and rear bumpers. Install the light buckets onto the roll bar. No lighting included on the light bar specifically. I tried adding Mitric RC lights, but the cables would be super visible, so I decided against it for now. And lastly, you mount the body with 4 screws, 2 on each side, and the 2 body clips on the bed. If you forget to plug in your battery or want to do a battery swap, it is not a quick job, a bit of form over function here, the things you sacrifice for the scale looks. There are a few option parts, including the decal set. I ended up just adding the red trim stripe. If you're applying these, make sure to spray the body down and clean it with isopropyl alcohol so that the decals adhere properly, and you can use a hobby blade or fine tweezers to help with placement. They also include an optional helper spring. I already find the suspension on these trucks pretty stiff, so we're going to keep that off for now, and they include an internal spring for the shocks, but we're going to drive it first before making any suspension mods. That's about it. After you charge your battery and install the included 4 AA batteries in your transmitter, you are ready to hit the trail. But before we take this outside, let's cover some of the highlights of the chassis and the body. Alrighty guys, let's take a look at this freaking beautiful body. This is the Chevrolet K10 Scottsdale. I really like the vintage paint job, this brown here with the champagne gold. I added on this red stripe from the decal set provided. And this is a ABS hard plastic body, a hard body instead of Lexan. Lots of scale details added on this. There have been some new additions since the previous releases of the K10, including these chrome side steps here. We also get a new design on the front bumper. This is plastic with chrome paint. We get a new push bar and these little lights here. These actually come off, so scale. I really like the integration of the LED lighting, like our warm white headlights here and some amber lights, including amber lights here on the side. However, not all the lights are provided. You're gonna have to add your own spotlights as well as the lights on the roll bar back here. We also get red lights here on our rear. Unfortunately, these are not linked to our braking. They're gonna be solid red permanently. We get an RC four-wheel drive scale department decal on our front hood, a nice nod to the fall guy. And how cool is this built-out V8 engine bay? The hood is held down by a magnet. It comes with rubber hoses, battery leads, and even tiny legible stickers. So cute. We do get a nice scale interior in there. However, our side doors actually do not open while the rear tailgate is functioning. Our side doors do not open. However, if you do want to access and paint the interior, it does require getting underneath the body, quite a few screws to dislodge that, but you can access that if you want. We get some plastic windshield wipers here. Our side mirrors are functioning, turn in and out. Always worried I'm gonna break those. A nice chrome roll bar rack on the rear, as well as our light pods. This is the long wheelbase edition of the Trailfinder 2 chassis. It comes in a 12.3 inch wheelbase. They also make a shorter edition in 11.3. People have mentioned that the truck bed is too short for the actual Chevy K10 Scottsdale. I think if they made it any longer, this would get so hung up out there on the trail. So I think it looks proportional, maybe not true to scale for the body. If you want to get some extra nerd points, check out these cool scale 6-ton jacks. Perfect for when you want to wrench on your truck, lift it up off the ground a little bit, or as a display stand. I sell these in my Shopify. I will put a link on the screen. The truck features 8-lug deep dish 1.9 inch steel stamped beadlock wheels with a chrome painted finish. Our tires are 1.9 inch Fun Countries, aggressive tread. We got stiff foams in there and they are sealed. They're not vented. One thing to mention here, do not lose the adapters to get your wheels off. Without them, it will be a major pain to get your wheels off, so make sure to keep track of those. For our chassis, I go into more detail in my other K10 videos, but briefly, this comes with K44 Ultimate Scale cast metal axles, metal links up front. The chassis rails are super stiff, CNC machine billet aluminum. Our motor is forward mounted. You get a brushed 45 turn motor paired with a 2 to 3S capable Outcry 3 brush speed control. These are waterproof. They come with an XT60 connector, and the on and off switch is hidden in the rear of the truck, accessible when the body's on. We have an exposed spur gear and a metal 14-tooth pinion. The transmission is an R3 single-speed transmission in a cast metal case, as well as a cast center-mounted hammer transfer case. Our drive shafts are plastic, and I actually saw in RC Driver Online's video that his came loose, so I will keep an eye on mine. For steering, it features a chassis-mounted steering servo, the standard twister high-torque metal gear servo. We have a center-mounted battery, and the receiver box is hidden in this little plastic box in the rear of the truck. Our receiver is bound to the XR3 3-channel radio. Always feel a little bit dated. We are currently using 2 of the ports, one for steering, one for our throttle, and then we have a spare port powering our lights. You connect the lights into this cable coming out of the receiver box when you mount the body. For the functions on the transmitter, you can reverse your steering and your throttle channels, as well as set the endpoints for all 3 channels, and you can set the trims for steering and throttle. So although it looks a little bit dated, does come with some good functionality. If you want more details, definitely check out my other videos. I really want to go drive this. We are ready to go take it outside, so let's take it away. So I just did that whole trail run without a scale driver. I didn't realize that the Night Customs drivers are actually a drop-in fit in the Chevy K10 Scottsdale interior. Don't even have to cut the legs off. They are literally a perfect fit in there. So next time. So what do I think of the Scale Department edition of RC 4-wheel drive's Trailfinder 2 long wheelbase platform? If you have some full scale money to spend, like those Oso scale details, 80s nostalgia, and making videos of tiny trucks trying to look like real trucks, then this could just scratch that itch. I will link out to this truck in the description box below, and if you just want the body, I don't yet see it available separately with the current paint job, but you can get one unpainted and finish it yourself. I think the front suspension did look pretty realistic in the trail run videos. The rear suspension, as others have mentioned previously, are pretty stiff out of the box. They will wear in and loosen up over time, but as I said, these are not going to be high performance rock crawlers. This is a quality chassis and a highly detailed body. However, I think the price tag will be a bit steep for folks. However, if at some point you're able to have at least one RC 4-wheel drive rig in your fleet, they are definitely showstoppers. I also did some accidental waterproof testing. The truck rolled over into a little pond. I made sure to clean and dry it off and unplug the battery after running it, but so far so good after one submersion. I think the Fall Guys superfans may be a bit disappointed that it is not a true scale replica of the TV show version, but I think customizing and building yourself is one of the most fun parts of the hobby. I want to say thank you to RC 4-wheel drive for sending a truck to feature on my channel. Always super fun to make scale run videos. Thank you to my small but mighty community of patrons on Patreon for helping me continue to make content like this. And if you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Until next time, or see you later.